All right, so let's get into this true false stuff that I've been creating for years.
Okay, so these are a bunch of quizzes that Anna's done on our Instagram account that we're going to go through now. They're super relevant. If you want to participate in these, we give away free awesome stuff. So just follow us on Instagram at @MyBlissKiss. So first one, Anna, take it away.
Eating gelatin strengthens nails. No. No. Just no.
Just no. Eating gelatin, it doesn't do what it needs to get to your nail plate. That's baloney.
Okay, so this is actually beaded ridges, and we can talk about that next week.
Yep.
But obviously it's false that ridges are bad. We want those.
We want them. And like we talked about earlier, the ridges are the tallest part and the grooves are the thinnest part. So if you were to file off all of these ridges, it's like taking all of the Rocky Mountains and leveling it so it's all flat, like the Gobi Desert. And all of a sudden, all of these beautiful, strong structures are now thin and susceptible to Dust Bowl, like Oklahoma.
And then you wonder why they start peeling.
So one of the common things we hear about ridges is you should buff them. No. It leads to damages and to peeling. And what Doug said, that after you've buffed them and smoothed all of these other things down, so if you're to buff all of this out and smooth everything out, the polish doesn't bond to your nail plate as well because it's too slick. So if you think of trying to paint something on plastic, if it's not it needs a little bit of earth surface so that it can bond to it. If it's super slick, there's nowhere for it to bond to. So if you buff and make your nails all shiny, your polish is going to peel off faster. So if you look at these photos from Doug, this is the nail plate from 180 grit file and 240 grit file. This is what a typical buffing block grit is. Like, this is happening to your nails, people. Like, it scrapes all of that down to the, it's terrible.
Yeah.
And then if you buff on top of it, then it smooths all of that out, and then you're even thinner, and there's nowhere for polish to adhere to. So your nails are completely vulnerable to all of the street raids of water that happen in your daily life.
And all those grooves just make easier areas for stress fractures.
Yeah, so like this right here, stress fracture. Yeah. And as your nails are growing up from your nail, your lunula and your matrix, like those ridges are going to keep coming out, and then all of this is buffed down, so it's going to have it's going to be way more vulnerable to those horizontal fractures or vertical fractures.
Okay, so I think we're into acetone. So acetone is bad for your nails. That's false. Doug has said that if you put nail clippings in acetone, leave it there for 40 years, you will come back and the nail clippings will look identical. Acetone does not get into the nail plate. It evaporates too quickly. So it's the best solvent for removing polish. If we didn't have to deal with polish, we wouldn't have to deal with acetone, but it's the best and quickest remover for your nail polish. And your gel, and your
acrylics, and your fake nails, and the
yep.
It just works the best.
Okay, this is I think this one is my all-time favorite. Garlic strengthens your nails. I think this came from great-grandmothers in Italy who use, they're making everything with olive oil and garlic, and somebody decided it was the garlic that strengthened the nails, and no, it's actually probably was the olive oil. So, no, eat your garlic. It will strengthen your nails. Wow, I misspelled that. There's a G missing.
Oh, you're right.
I'm
funny. Photoshop doesn't have spell check.
No, it doesn't. Wow, good job, Anna. Nobody has ever said
I didn't notice it either. Oh my gosh. And how many times did I look at that? And I didn't.
I know, right?
Funny.
All right, false. Mineral oil does not strengthen your nails. It doesn't moisturize your skin. It's mineral oil is derived from the petroleum industry. Some people, there's a debate about whether it's a good thing or a bad thing, but personally, since we know, Doug has said it does not penetrate into the skin or the nail plate, so kind of it's like applying plastic on top. Why bother? It's not. It's just like no.
And one of the things in the skin disorders, I know we have a skin disorder group, the mineral oil and petroleum jelly and the ointments and stuff that are petroleum based, that can actually create a barrier where bacteria can grow and you can get an infection because you're trapping whatever it is that's going on in your body without having access to air and oxygen and other things like that. Skin needs to breathe, nails don't. We'll get to that in a minute.
Then, okay, so if they're having issues with the mineral oil, but then why is it okay for us to put our oil, our hydrating oil on skin? It's because it actually does penetrate.
Yep. So the molecular structure of the mineral oil is not able to penetrate through our skin cells. The jojoba and the blend that we have, the jojoba is a carrier, which means it, like Anna has talked about so many times, it's only one molecule structure difference than our own natural skin oil. So it's able to penetrate through the skin layers and take all of the other ingredients in with it as a carrier and deliver that goodness to your subdermal layers.
Right.
Next.
False. Products help, as I talked about earlier, products do not help your nails grow faster.
Because why?
Only 3 scientifically proven ways: get pregnant, move somewhere warm, which means just increase blood flow. And you can do that a little bit. We do that by when you stimulate the matrix and you massage back here, then you're bringing more blood flow. So you're kind of mimicking moving somewhere warm, not the same, but, and then the other thing is to damage the nail plate. Those are the only 3 things, the only ways to do it.
And then next, we're talking, so this is similar. So we talked about products help your nails grow faster. So now we're talking about application of vitamins strengthening your nails. We talked about what strong nails mean. That means their resistance to shoot.
So
strength means resist breaking.
So nail strengtheners have their place, especially for people with short, overly flexible, so or overly soft nails. So we're talking about the hardness. So the product, and I talk about, we use the Fab 5 wrap. We use 5 layers of polish to add temporary strength. So it helps increase the toughness of our nails, because for those of us who have really thin nails or flexible nails or whatever, the products can help. But nail hardeners can make our nails too hard. So, you know, and it doesn't matter what vitamin you put in polish. So
in polish, it is, if it's going on dead cells, it is dead keratin. There are no nuclei in any of these cells that the polish with the vitamins and strengtheners are going to do. So the IBX, like Anna talked about, IBX treatment helps to strengthen those super thin nails. And the reason why you can't continually use IBX long term is because it strengthens it by making it more rigid. It does not increase flexibility. So because it's not also increasing flexibility, you can only use it for so long before things start to become brittle again. Even though it's been strengthened, without the flexibility, that crap's going to break. So sorry, everybody.
Right.
So along the same line, the only way to actually impact things is what, Anna?
Eat them.
Eat your vitamins. Because
eat your vitamins, eat healthy food, because that's the only place where you can improve it, is back behind the cuticle line where no product can go. There's nothing can go back there. You gotta do it from the inside.
If you think about it, like my kids demanding dinner, of if all of a sudden they're like, over here, we want to eat the blah, 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 blah. I'm like, you should have told me about that when we went and got groceries and planned meals, because now here are the things, the inputs that I have to make the outputs that you get to eat. So kind of the same thing with your body. If you're not planning ahead and giving your body what it needs to make what you want it to make, you're going to get mac and cheese, babe. You're going to get mac and cheese. So biotin strengthens nails.
This one, yeah. So this one is, yes, consume biotin. Biotin's a really, really important B7, B vitamins.
This one helps with me a lot.
Right. So B7, it's a very important, but we actually need all the B vitamins, but it is one, and it is one that I think a lot of us are probably deficient in. So is the biotin actually helping? Yes, if you are deficient in biotin, but you can take it straight as just biotin, or you can take it as a collection in a skin, hair, nails formula. Biotin by itself, for some people, causes them to break out with acne. Don't know why, but you can take it. But then those people do much better with the skin, hair, and nails formula. Same here, that's me.
And you're not going to see results from the vitamins for 4 weeks.
4 weeks?
4 weeks, maybe 6.
Yep.
Just because the way that the amount of time from, it's like planning a road trip. It's like, okay, I'm leaving my house. What time are you going to be there? Oh, well, with traffic and everything, give me at least an hour before I get there. So it's the same with your body in producing your nail cells. As soon as you start taking the vitamin, it has to start here, and then it has to go through traffic to get to the destination, which is here. And
our perception
and then you're not going to see a difference until it gets here.
Exactly. That's the point, is that our perception of our nails is how our free edge is behaving.
Yep.
We're not really paying attention to what it looks like on the nail bed.
Yep. Yep. Okay, next one.
Elvis in your tail.
Yeah, it's Elvis o'clock. Elvis, it's a kidding.
Well, having a lunia is a health issue. So obviously, as you guys have learned, no, it's
not a health issue. It's just genetics.
We've all got one, just not all of us get to see it.
So those of you who do not see your lunula, that means it is tucked away nicely under your proximal fold.
It's much more protected.
It's more protected. It's more safe. If yours is exposed, it's also fine. Just try and be careful to not bang it. If you do, it's also fine.
Mm-hmm.
It happens.
Your nail shape is genetic. Yep. It's your matrix, it's your fingertip bone, it's just the size and the shape.
This.
Yep.
All these things.
Okay.
So we have this version of nail shape, and we're going to talk more about the other perspective on nail shape. So we have vertically long, and this is where most nail models and hand models are, like 90%. This is like the 2% of Twiggy and Kate Moss models. Not very many people have it. They're gorgeous. We all covet it. The rest of us, we get to be all happy up and all this. I have mostly inverted triangle.
Mm-hmm.
I know we've seen a lot of other shapes in our group, and all of them totally fine.
Beautiful.
It's just your genetic shape, and that's fine. And that's what we're here to do, is normalize all this. So the other things we're going to talk about more next week are spoon nails, where it peels up, or not peels up, but lifts up on both sides. Parrot nails, which curve down. Flare, which are like mine, that kind of flip up at the edges. Flat, that just is like flat across, and the challenge is there. Club nails, which is related to a health issue. Curve nails like Anna with the super strong C curve. And then all of our lovelies with the ruffles that have ridges. And the challenges that go on there. So we'll talk more about that aspect next week.
Now this is the really fun one. When we first started this business, that people would email me and they were just mortified if they had like some clear on the corners.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just like, once I finally figured out, oh, that's oil. That's oil wicking up. So like for the people who had clear in their corners, so let me see if I can point. I take over. Are you able to see this? Yep. So right here, where people would have some clear in this area, but then the rest would turn white. And they were like, what's wrong with me? Why do I have this clear area of my nails? And it's always been like that. It's like, well, I finally figured out, oh, the oil is wicking out. So, and then it stops wicking. It can't go any farther. Mm-hmm. And so then your nails start drying out. So now we've got this flip where basically I've taught people, oh, we want that. we now want that. We want our nails to be transparent and to have, when you've done a hydration treatment. And so now I've got the opposite problem where people are complaining to me that their nails aren't turning transparent enough. And mine, like the nails and stuff, she gets almost complete transparency. And mine, I get about 50% back, and that's it. Doesn't matter how long I soak.
And what we've seen people doing the 30-day challenge do is the more they do the intensive hydrations and overnight hydrations, the more it increases their transparency. But even then, not everybody gets it. It really depends on how many layers of nails you genetically have, your lifestyle, all of these things. So if you don't get clear tips, it's fine. If you do get clear tips, also fine. All fine. You are who you are, where you are, and that's good.
Yep. As long as they feel better.
As long as they feel better. All right, this is a classic one.
Oh, you should only file your nails in one direction. Otherwise, they're going to break more and they're going to peel more.
And shred and stuff and things now.
No, Doug did he went to his microscope and he took he looked at nails that had been filed versus nails that had been cut.
Not a single difference. So file it the way you want it.
I said that wrong, not cut. So whether you file seesaw back and forth like this, or whether you do one stroke, few strokes this way, and then a few strokes of filing this way, it doesn't matter. The filing edge all look the same. The
caveat I would offer there is grit matters.
Grit matters, big time.
Grit matters. You don't want to use a metal emery board. They're ruthless. Those will shred your tips. A higher grit, so if the lower number that you have on the grit is the bigger the sand particles, that's right?
And it destroys your nails.
And those will destroy your nails. So the larger grit,
240
smaller numbers, that is for buffing off the tops of acrylics or gels so that you can soak, so that the acetone can soak that. You never want to use those bigger grits on your actual nails. It will tear the crap out of them.
Right.
See the previous image. We don't want that.
Nope.
We don't want that.
And that's actually a 180, which is not horrible, but a 100 should only be used on filing down acrylic.
Yeah, it'll mess your crap up. We don't want that.
Sure.
All right. So the opposite of this one of clear nails are good, a lot of people think that white nail tips are healthy. Is that true, Anna?
No,
it's not.
It took me a while to figure out, and I think the only thing that can come across with that is that everybody had such dried out nails that's what they coveted. That's what they thought was normal. That's what they thought was healthy. And then now we know it's not.
So the white tips actually mean that it's dehydrated.
Yep.
So if we look at the seasonal image, that's like this fall. It's like, sure, all those leaves are beautiful. Are they getting the moisture and the nutrients and the chlorophyll from the trunk of the tree? Nope. What does that mean? They're getting brittle and dried out, and they're all going to fall down and crumble.
Right.
It's just part of the season.
Right.
So white nail tips. Next, we have yellow nails are a health issue.
I love this. Thank you, Teresa, for giving me this.
Thank you, Teresa.
And back when I met Teresa, her nails were fairly short. And it's been so fun watching her, but she is one of these people, like me, actually. I tend to have yellow or tinted nails. It's just her and her coloring. She's actually very healthy. And as you can tell, her nails look fantastic. They just happen to be tinted yellow. That's just her. There's some of that is polish staining, but it's not a health issue. A lot of times it will show up, especially like smokers will get them because of the tar, especially the hand that they use for smoking. The tar will leave a residue, a yellowish residue.
Penetrates the layers of the nail.
It does penetrate into the top surfaces. You could buff it out.
But like we talked about, you don't want to buff that.
Yeah. So.
Okay. Next, this is a classic.
Should trim your cuticles back.
No!
No, that is Doug.
From Doug's book. Oh my gosh, I found it and I'm like, I laughed and I was like, we have to include this.
Yeah.
So give your classic explanation, Anna, of trimming back your cuticle.
It's physically impossible. You cannot cut your cuticle. So therefore, the cuticle is dead, yes. But then the interpretation is, oh, I should remove that. No, you're cutting live skin. Is it possible that you can cut some of that skin off and not damage? Yeah, but you're playing with fire, actually. Because when we were talking about, so keratinized means buildup of skin cells. Okay, so could you, if all of that skin got so thick that could you cut off some of it and not hurt yourself? Yeah, but it's just such a big but.
Like you cannot tell where your capillaries and all of the blood flow ends until you trim it, and then you're bleeding and you're like, oops, that was too much. So
yeah,
that's
it. And so no, that tool should be banned.
So what we want to focus on is pushing back gently the proximal fold, and if you're polishing your nails
and keeping it moisturized, that's what the combination of that and massaging it with your oil, that's what keeps that band of skin nice and tight so it can do its job properly.
And it prevents excess keratinization. So as you're able to keep this hydrated, your body's like, okay, we're good here. We don't need to make more cells. When it gets dried out and your body gets stressed, it's like, oh crap, more keratinized cells, stat, to the proximal fold. Go, 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 go. And then you get home from getting groceries and you're like, I don't have any room in the freezer for this.
So yeah, people who cut, the body's response, make more cells. So then you get into this vicious cycle of, I got to keep cutting.
Yep. So what we want to do is gently, weakly push back the proximal fold, and it is not putting pressure on the nail plate. It is just barely softly sliding back to release that grip that it has, so that your proximal fold doesn't continue to be attached to the cuticle and your nail plate. Because right here on the sides, we'll start to get the peeling and the splitting. And doing so.
Okay. So, I mean, I think we've talked about this one a lot, and we'll let people just take a look at these slides as they need them. But
yep. So you see, thank you, Danielle, for letting us use these. Here you can see cuticle right here. You can see proximal fold right here, and you can see where it's tearing here. You can see how this is pulling up here. This is an issue there. These are fantastic photos, and Danielle, you've made so much progress. We're so thrilled for you. Yeah. But here with the proximal fold, you can see how it's connected very tightly to the nail plate. And as you're able to
gently. The cuticle that has death gripped that, the grip, which you can't even see the cuticle because it's underneath. And what's happening is it's growing and it's pulling out the proximal fold with it because that hasn't been released. You haven't shoved your fingers in pockets enough to put enough pressure against that skin to make it release.
Yep. And so we're starting to see a little bit of the tearing going on right here, just from the tension of it as it's growing out, having that death grip with the cuticle and the proximal fold on top of it. This will cause problems, and I would totally pick the crap out of this. I would pick the crap out of that. So super important. This one, that's great. It's so cute.
They don't have lungs. Your nails do not need to take breathing breaks. Don't let anybody try and convince you. In fact, polish protects your nails.
We have another image of take a break, risk a break. So when you take a polish break, you're actually exposing your nails to more water and to more of the things where you're actually putting yourself at risk. So we get through that to here. It's like polish protects your nails and it provides strength.
Absolutely.
It absolutely does. And then base coat isn't necessary. Also, no.
So that's false because base coat is bonded to bond to the nail plate. It's a softer product. And then your polish and your top coat, those are made to bond to another lacquer. And so those are the ones that have the ingredients that make them stronger and shinier and more durable. But because they are stronger, they're less flexible and so they don't bond to the nail plate as easily, and so then they crack and chip.
And so with the base coats, for those of us who have grooves, ridges and grooves, you want the bridge filling base coat to fill this up, to build it back up to the level. And all of us, we have these little microscopic pores where our keratinized cells form together on our nail plate. And this is where, from the bottom down, your body pushes up oil and water to hydrate your nail plate before it leaves your nail bed. And from the top down, as we're putting polish on, if you don't put a base coat, teensy holes are perfect for the pigment to ground in and for water to get in and to separate all those layers. So without base coat, you're
scrub your polish, you scrub to remove, rub. You're just
shoving all. It's like my kids when they clean their room, they're like shoving socks and weird and Nerf bullets in corners. It's like that's not actually taking care of the issues. So yes, base coat is important.
Yeah,
and it also leads us to the whole nail soak thing. Anti bombs, bath bombs. You want to keep your nails out of water as much as possible because of these holes. Look at these holes.
I know.
We don't want, and this is this is a cross section of the free edge. Like, so if you look here, you have water coming in the pores from the top down, and then you have your free edge, and then the water gets in and penetrates all of these different layers and starts to expand and push them apart. And then it does this street feed. What did I call it? Whatever it is, it steals all of the oil and leaves everything empty on the inside. And so when the water leaves, it takes the oil with it because it's a solvent. And then you got nothing.
Yeah, nothing.
Sadness and peels. Nothing.
Mm-hmm.
All right, everybody.
Wow. You managed to stay with us.
Ooh. So in summary, nails grow in phases. And sometimes it's awkward. Remember being a teenager? That was awkward. I hated it. It was terrible.
Oh, gosh.
And that's okay.
You know what? We survived.
We survived, and it's okay for those awkward phases because that's all in the big picture part of the whole.
Yeah. So your nail shape is and your thickness is genetic, so it's time to stop hating yourself. It's time to just start
Let's do some self-love and just accept us for who we are. Like, these are my cells. My body is making these cells. I love these cells.
Yeah. And just how do we work with it?
Yep.
Figuring out your challenges, what they are, accepting them. This is the way I am. This is the way it is. And just how can we work with it? And, you know, for some people, it's that they cannot wear polish. They just can't. And that's okay.
That's okay. That's okay. So it's managing expectations and all that stuff. So
exactly.
Everybody for hanging in with us this week. Next week, we're going to go into more detail of when things get weird and what to do about it. And it'll be equally as good and interesting, maybe more so. And hopefully we'll
be off on her.
Oh, I'll be at my new house by then. Holy crap.
Right.
Oh,
your background will be.
I don't know exactly where my desk is going to go. It'll be interesting.
Yeah.
So,
all right.
All right.
Move.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. I hope you enjoyed. I hope this was helpful and insightful. Post any questions that you have. We have loved having everybody in the group. It's been such an honor and a privilege to be a part of your lives and to help give you information to help solve your problems. This is why we exist. It's fantastic. So thank you, and keep us posted, and we'll be in touch soon.
See you next week.